First contact and devastation. The sky above Nexus 7 shimmered with an unnatural ripple as the fabric of spacetime distorted. Commander Sarah Kerrigan stood on the observation deck of Horizon Base, her eyes fixed on the phenomenon that had appeared without warning. The colony's early warning system had detected the quantum disturbance just minutes ago, but nothing in their archives matched the signature. "What are we looking at, Dr. Volkov?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the swirling vortex that had materialized at the edge of the system. The chief scientist adjusted his spectacles nervously. "It's unlike anything we've encountered before. The energy readings suggest it's artificial, but the technology required to create such a disturbance is, well, beyond our current understanding." Sarah's instincts screamed danger. In her 15 years of service in the United Earth Defense Force, she had developed a sixth sense for trouble. "Sound the alert. Level 2 protocols." "Commander, that would disrupt the entire colony. Over 10,000 civilians would need to evacuate their workstations," Lieutenant Rivera protested from her monitoring station. "Better disrupted than dead," Sarah replied, her voice calm but resolute. "Do it now." The warning klaxons began to wail throughout the colony. On the main view screen, thousands of red dots representing colonists began moving toward designated safety zones. Nexus 7 had been established as humanity's farthest outpost from Earth, a beacon of exploration and scientific advancement. Its population of 12,000 was comprised mainly of scientists, engineers, and their families. The vortex expanded, its swirling mass growing from the size of a small shuttle to that of a capital ship within seconds. And then they came through. The Vraxian ships emerged like predators from a hiding place. 7 vessels, each shaped like elongated diamonds with pulsing blue energy coursing through visible channels across their hulls. They moved with a precision that spoke of advanced navigational systems and experienced pilots. "Open a communication channel," Sarah ordered. "All frequencies, first contact protocols." The communication officer worked frantically at her console. "Channel open, Commander." Sarah straightened her uniform. "This is Commander Sarah Kerrigan of the United Earth Colony Nexus 7. We welcome peaceful contact and exchange. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." The response came not as words but as action. The lead Vraxian vessel emitted a pulse of energy that sliced through Nexus 7's orbital defense platform as if it were made of paper. The platform, home to 27 defense personnel, vanished in a blinding flash. "They've taken out Defense Platform Alpha," Rivera shouted, her voice cracking with shock. All hands lost." Sarah's expression hardened. "Battle stations. All civilians to emergency shelters. Deploy all defensive measures." But it was already too late for conventional defense. The Vraxian attack was methodical and devastating. They targeted key infrastructure with surgical precision. Power generators, communication arrays, water reclamation facilities. Within minutes, the carefully constructed human colony was reduced to a state of chaos. In the emergency command center buried deep beneath the colony's main hub, Sarah gathered what remained of her command staff. The holographic display showed the extent of the damage. Nearly 30% of the colony was destroyed or severely damaged. Casualty estimates scrolled across one screen: -478 confirmed dead, over 1,000 injured, hundreds more unaccounted for. "They're not just attacking randomly," Dr. Volkov observed, his face pale as he analyzed the pattern of destruction. "Look at their targets. They're systematically destroying our ability to organize, communicate, and maintain basic life support." Lieutenant Rivera nodded grimly. "This isn't just an attack. It's extermination." A communication request flashed on the main screen. Sarah hesitated only briefly before accepting. The face that appeared was distinctly non-human, elongated with iridescent scales instead of skin, and 4 yellow eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. The universal translator struggled for a moment before producing stilted, mechanical English. "Humans of Nexus 7. I am Supreme Commander Zaxar of the Vraxian Dominion. Your species has been evaluated and deemed a potential threat to galactic stability. This cleansing operation is merely the first of many. Submit to extermination with dignity." Sarah stared into those alien eyes, searching for some sign of empathy or reason. She found none. "We have shown no aggression toward your people. We didn't even know of your existence until today. Why are you doing this?" The Vraxian commander's upper eyes blinked in what might have been amusement. "Your history speaks for itself. Your species advances through conflict. You thrive on opposition. When faced with setbacks, you respond with increased aggression and innovation. This makes you unpredictable and dangerous. Our predictive models show a 78.3% probability that humanity will become a significant threat within 2 centuries if allowed to expand unchecked. So you're killing us because of what we might become?" Sarah asked, her voice tight with controlled fury. "We are being merciful. Quick elimination now prevents more extensive conflict later." Zaxar's mandibles clicked in what the translation protocol suggested was the Vraxian equivalent of a dismissive gesture. "Our analysis of human psychology indicates that significant casualties will demoralize your remaining population, making the completion of our task more efficient." The communication ended abruptly. Sarah stood in silence for a moment, processing the Vraxian's words. "They've made a fundamental error in their assessment," Dr. Volkov said quietly. "They believe killing us will break our will to fight." Sarah nodded slowly, her eyes focusing on the casualty reports that continued to update on the screen. Each number represented a person: a scientist, an engineer, a teacher, a child. People who had come to Nexus 7 with dreams of discovery and progress. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command," she ordered, "and begin salvage operations immediately. We need to gather every piece of Vraxian technology we can find from their strikes." "Commander," Rivera questioned. Sarah's eyes gleamed with cold determination. "The Vraxians think they understand human psychology. They believe they can break us with casualties. But they've never encountered humans before." She gestured to the displays showing the expanding rescue efforts, the medical teams working frantically, the defense personnel regrouping. "They don't understand that humans don't break under pressure. We transform." Over the next 72 hours, the true nature of humanity revealed itself in ways the Vraxian models had never predicted. Instead of descending into panic and chaos, the colonists organized. Medical personnel worked without rest, engineers repurposed damaged equipment into makeshift defenses, and scientists began analyzing the debris from Vraxian weapons to understand their technology. Sarah established a command structure that incorporated civilian volunteers alongside military personnel. Every colonist who could contribute was given a role, a purpose. The shared trauma didn't fracture the community, it fused it into something stronger. Dr. Volkov made the first breakthrough while examining fragments of a Vraxian energy weapon. "Their technology operates on quantum principles we've been theorizing about for decades, but haven't been able to implement," he explained, his exhaustion momentarily forgotten in the excitement of discovery. "They're manipulating subatomic particles in ways that make our most advanced weapons look like slingshots." "Can we counter it?" Sarah asked. Volkov's tired eyes lit up with the spark of scientific challenge. "Not with our current technology, but their approach has certain vulnerabilities. They rely heavily on quantum entanglement for their targeting systems. If we could disrupt that entanglement." "Make it happen," Sarah ordered. "Whatever resources you need." 6 days after the initial attack, the Vraxians returned. Their ships appeared in the same location, probably expecting to find a demoralized, dying colony ready for the final strike. Instead, they encountered a transformed Nexus 7. Using salvaged Vraxian technology combined with human ingenuity, the colonists had developed a rudimentary quantum disruption field. It wouldn't stop the Vraxian weapons entirely, but it would degrade their effectiveness. More importantly, Earth had responded to Sarah's distress call. 3 United Earth Defense Force vessels had arrived through the recently completed jump gate, bringing reinforcements, supplies, and a burning desire for retribution. As the Vraxian fleet approached, Sarah opened a communication channel. "Supreme Commander Zaxar, this is Commander Kerrigan. You should know that we've transmitted all data about your attack to Earth and every human colony. Your evaluation of human psychology was flawed. You thought casualties would break us." Her voice took on an edge sharper than any Vraxian blade. "You were wrong. They only made us angrier." The battle that followed was brief but decisive. The Vraxians, confident in their technological superiority, were unprepared for the human countermeasures. Their precision weapons became erratic in the disruption field. 2 Vraxian vessels were destroyed before Zaxar ordered a retreat. As the surviving Vraxian ships disappeared back through their spatial vortex, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The Vraxians would return with greater numbers and improved tactics, but humanity would be ready. The message had already spread throughout human space. An existential threat had emerged, and humanity would respond as it always had, with innovation born from adversity, with unity forged in fire, with determination steeled by loss. In the makeshift memorial garden established for those lost in the attack, Sarah placed a simple marker. It bore no name, just a phrase that had become the colony's unofficial motto. "They thought casualties would break us. They only fueled our wrath." The counteroffensive was just beginning. The counteroffensive. 6 months after the first Vraxian attack, Nexus 7 had transformed beyond recognition. What had once been primarily a scientific outpost now served as humanity's forward military base in a war few had imagined possible. The colony's population had swelled to over 30,000 as military personnel, engineers, and scientists from across human space poured in, united by a common purpose. Commander Sarah Kerrigan, now promoted to admiral, stood in the newly constructed Strategic Command Center, surveying the holographic display of known Vraxian movements. Since the initial attack, the aliens had struck 3 more human outposts, each time retreating when they encountered unexpected resistance. "They're prodding our defenses," General Wei commented, his weathered face grim as he analyzed the pattern. "Testing our adaptations. And collecting data," Dr. Volkov added. The scientist had lost an arm during the first attack, now replaced with a neural-integrated prosthetic that allowed him unprecedented control over his laboratory equipment. "Each engagement provides them with more information about our technological capabilities." Sarah nodded, "Which is exactly what we want them to think. Operation Mirror is proceeding as planned." Operation Mirror represented the culmination of humanity's response to the Vraxian threat, a multi-layered strategy that leveraged the enemy's fundamental misconception about human psychology. While the Vraxians collected data on human weapons and defenses, they remained blind to the true nature of the human counteroffensive. "Quantum reflection technology is now integrated into all major systems," Lieutenant Rivera reported. Now head of the newly formed Counter-Vraxian Intelligence Division, Rivera had developed methods to feed the Vraxians carefully crafted misinformation during each engagement. "When they scan our defenses, they see what we want them to see." "And Project Phoenix?" Sarah asked. Dr. Volkov smiled for the first time in what felt like months. "The prototypes exceeded expectations in the final trials. Mass production is underway at facilities throughout human space. We'll have sufficient units for full deployment within 2 weeks." Project Phoenix had emerged from the analysis of Vraxian technology recovered from the initial attack. Rather than attempting to merely copy the advanced quantum weapons, human scientists had taken a different approach. They developed technology that didn't just defend against Vraxian attacks, but actively absorbed their energy, redirecting it back against the attackers. "The Helios station is nearly complete," General Wei continued, manipulating the holographic display to show a massive structure taking shape at the edge of the solar system. "Once operational, it will serve as both bait and trap." Sarah studied the station's specifications with satisfaction. Helios represented the most ambitious military construction project in human history, a cooperative effort involving engineers and resources from every human colony. To Vraxian sensors, It would appear to be a vulnerable command and control center, an irresistible target. Its true nature was something else entirely. "We've intercepted Vraxian communications indicating they're planning a major offensive," Rivera reported. "Their fleet has grown to over 30 vessels, and intelligence suggests Supreme Commander Zaxar will personally lead the attack." "Good," Sarah said, surprising some of the newer staff members with her response. "Everything proceeds according to plan. Initiate Phase 3. Phase 3 activated a network of quantum beacons throughout the system, broadcasting a specific signal designed to attract Vraxian attention. To their sensors, it would appear that Nexus 7 and Helios Station were experiencing significant power fluctuations, a sign of vulnerability that their strategic models would identify as the optimal time to attack. 3 days later, the Vraxian fleet arrived exactly as predicted. Their ships emerged from quantum portals in a formation designed to maximize tactical advantage. 32 vessels, each more heavily armed than those in the initial attack, moved toward Helios Station with mathematical precision. "They've taken the bait," General Wei confirmed as the tactical display updated in real time. "All units are in position." Sarah opened a communication channel to all human forces. "This is Admiral Kerrigan. The moment we've prepared for has arrived. Remember the fallen. Remember what we fight for. Execute Operation Requiem." Across the system, human ships that had been concealed using adaptive camouflage technology suddenly appeared, surrounding the Vraxian fleet. But this was merely the first surprise. As the Vraxians redirected their weapons toward the human vessels, Helios Station began to transform. What had appeared to be a conventional space station reconfigured itself into a massive energy collection array. The quantum technology developed from studying Vraxian weapons allowed it to absorb the energy from their initial barrage, storing it for redistribution. On the Vraxian command ship, Supreme Commander Zaxar watched with growing alarm as his carefully planned attack failed to produce the expected results. "Impossible," he hissed as the tactical displays showed negligible damage to human defenses. "Increase power to all weapons. Targeting priorities remain unchanged." The increased barrage played directly into the human strategy. As Vraxian weapons poured more energy into their attacks, Helios Station absorbed it, reaching critical capacity faster than anticipated. "Helios has achieved optimal charge," Dr. Volkov reported, his artificial hand flying across the control interface. "Ready to initiate Phoenix Protocol on your command." Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment that would determine the future of humanity's conflict with the Vraxians. "Execute Phoenix Protocol. All ships, implement quantum reflection shields." Helios Station pulsed with accumulated energy, redirecting the combined power of the Vraxian attack through a network of quantum conduits. The redirected energy surged back toward the Vraxian fleet, precisely calibrated to disrupt their quantum technology at the subatomic level. The effect was immediate and devastating. Vraxian ships lost propulsion as their engines failed. Weapons systems went offline. Communication arrays burned out. What had been an organized attack force became a collection of drifting, defenseless vessels. Only the Vraxian command ship maintained partial functionality, protected by redundant systems that the human intelligence hadn't fully anticipated. On its bridge, Supreme Commander Zaxar faced a situation that no Vraxian strategic model had predicted. Sarah opened a direct channel to the Vraxian flagship. "Supreme Commander Zaxar, your fleet is disabled. Your attack has failed. I offer you one opportunity to surrender." The Vraxian commander's 4 eyes blinked in what human synopsychologists had identified as extreme agitation. "This outcome defies all probability models. How did you develop such technology so quickly?" "You made a fundamental error in your assessment of humans," Sarah replied, allowing herself a grim smile. "You believed inflicting casualties would demoralize us, make us easier to conquer. Instead, you united us. Every life you took became a reason to fight harder, to innovate faster, to ensure that no other human would die at Vraxian hands. Your species is an anomaly," Zaxar said, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotions in his voice. In all our encounters with intelligent life, we have never encountered a species that becomes more dangerous when threatened. Then consider this encounter in education. Sarah responded. Human history is filled with examples of adversity leading to advancement. We don't break under pressure, we evolve. After a long pause, Zaxar spoke again. The Vraxian Dominion does not surrender. But we are capable of reassessment. I propose a cessation of hostilities while we recalibrate our understanding of your species. It wasn't the unconditional surrender Sarah had hoped for, but it was a beginning. Agreed with conditions. You will withdraw all Vraxian forces from human space. You will return any human prisoners. And you will acknowledge humanity's right to exist and expand. These terms are acceptable, Zaxar conceded. Our models clearly require significant revision. As the disabled Vraxian vessels were towed to designated coordinates for repair and eventual departure, Sarah returned to Nexus 7. In the Memorial Garden, now expanded to honor all those lost in what had become known as the First Contact War, she placed a plaque beside the original marker. It read, "They thought casualties would break us. They only fueled our wrath. They learned that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons or our technology, but our ability to transform tragedy into triumph." The war with the Vraxians had ended not with the extermination they had planned, but with a newfound respect for a species they had fatally underestimated. Throughout human space, the lessons of the conflict were being incorporated into education, military training, and diplomatic protocols. Humanity had faced its first major extraterrestrial threat and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. As for the Vraxians, they returned to their territory with a revised understanding of the cosmos. Their reports to the wider Dominion carried a clear warning. Humans are not to be judged by conventional standards. When threatened, they do not cower, they unite. When attacked, they do not surrender, they innovate. When faced with casualties, they do not break. They burn with a determination that defies all prediction models. In the vastness of space, word spread quickly among intelligent species. A new power had emerged, one that turned adversity into advantage and transformed loss into strength. Humanity had announced its presence in the galactic community not with words, but with an unmistakable demonstration of its unique psychology. Casualties don't break humans. They only fuel their wrath.